Probably the best purchase I've ever made as a wargamer was when I bought my first Hexon II hex terrain system. I bought a couple of boxes to start with, but since then, over the years, I bought more and more stuff, so I can fully cover my fully extended wargames table, which, depending on the configuration I set it up for, is either 6x4 or 3x8, several times over. Unfortunately, over recent years, thanks mainly to constraints on time and space, I haven't been able to use it all. However, I have been able to use it on a mini campaign board that I created, and this is what this video is about. To create my mini campaign board, I went out and bought a 3 foot by 2 foot magnetised whiteboard from one of the large stationers. I believe it might have been Staples, but I'm not absolutely sure. Now, the white magnetised side is the side you're looking at in this photograph, although unfortunately it appears to be brown due to the quality of the photograph. However, if you turn it over, the back side is covered with a layer of MDF, unlike some of the very cheap ones which are covered with cardboard. Now, to make sure that my hexes fitted nice and tightly, I put a thin beading round the inside of the frame of the board, and this enabled me to ensure a nice tight fit for the hexes. As you can see, I was able to fit a grid of 6x8 Hexon II hexes within the framework that I'd created on the mini game board. Since then, I've used it many times, as the following will show. The first major outing for my mini campaign board was when I fought a Barbarossa mini campaign back in February 2015, using scenarios, a number of link scenarios from Neil Thomas's books. The one on the left shows the initial invasion, the one on the right shows the breakout, and this one shows an assault on a defended bridge. The following month I set it up to fight the Trouble in Zubia mini campaign. This started with a naval assault on a heavily defended coastal city, which is shown on the left, and was followed, as you can see on the right, by an attack on the trench system which was defending the capital of Zubia. Once in control of Zubia, the colonial power then had to contend with an insurgency by some of the desert natives. On the left you can see them defending a riverside town where they managed to hold off an attack, and on the right a less defensible town being evacuated in the face of increasing pressure from the insurgents. Later that same year, I used it to fight one of the playtest games for the modern version of the Portable Wargame, in this case using two imaginations, Munchauserland and Eastland, to fight the battle that I wanted to use to test certain aspects of the rules. I became a bit more ambitious the following year when I decided to fight a fictionalised version of the Russian attack on Finland, which I called the Winterish War mini campaign. For this I created a map which actually saw 4 tables linked together, and as you'll see in the following, it was quite easy to transfer a section of each map over to create the terrain. As you can see in this example, and here, here, and here. Having fought the main part of the war, I then had an additional scenario that I wanted to try, which was to see the effect of armoured troops trying to fight very mobile troops in difficult terrain. And for this I created a fifth map and terrain system. In 2019 I decided to see if I could use my terrain generator that I included in one of my earlier books to create terrain using the 6x8 campaign board. And here you'll see from left to right an undulating desert, a hilly rural area, and a flat rural area, followed by a mountainous area, an undulating urban area, and a hilly forest. Now, I've not used any of these, but I think they show just how flexible this system can be using a relatively small grid of 6x8 Hexon II hexes on my campaign board. More recently, I've used the terrain board and my Hexon hexes to fight two wars, complete wars on one board, the Second and Third Stalbanian-Kakistani War, which I fought in April and May of 2023. I drew up a map with the Stalbanians defending the two forts and the mountain pass, and the Kakistanis invading from the bottom of the map, on the bottom of the photograph on the right hand side. Very enjoyable games, and it was interesting to see how easy it was to transfer the terrain from the map onto the board and have something quite interesting to fight over. I used the same idea when I decided to try out my Sham Battle Portable Wargame Hybrid in November 2023. Again, I created a map, transferred that map over onto the terrain board, and it actually produced a very good game, as you can see. Now you can see this the terrain from the following images, the one on the right hand side and these two, which are seen from the respective capitals of the two combatants. Now, I've also used the other side of the board, the whiteboard side. I decided I wasn't going to use it as a whiteboard or as a magnetic board. So what I did was I covered it in felt. And I've actually now used that, as you can see here, to fight 3x3 portable war games on, because the felt actually adheres very nicely to the felt terrain squares that I created for it. So the board has performed two functions as a terrain board since I created it. Well, that's a short video about my portable mini campaign game board. I hope some of you have found it interesting, and I hope that you'll possibly consider creating something similar yourselves if you haven't already done so. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this channel, and if you don't want to subscribe but you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. There will be more videos to come in the near future, but in the meantime, thank you for visiting my channel, and good luck with your wargaming.